I'm Catherine Flashner, and this is The Truth Is, a podcast about discovering what it means to live your truth. Even when it's messy, when it unravels the plans you thought you had and invites you to step into the unknown. Each week, we explore practices, stories, and conversations that illuminate the ways we find and follow our own path. This is a space to slow down, ask questions, and uncover what's been quietly waiting inside of you. If it resonates, subscribing, following, and engaging with the show really supports me in bringing more people into the conversation. Thank you for being here. Welcome to The Truth Is. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Truth Is. Welcome to 2026. We are here. And today's conversation feels like such a grounding way to begin the year. It's spacious, honest, and rooted in a way of living that isn't about striving for more, but about listening more closely to what's already true. My guest today is my dear friend, Samantha Abrams. Samantha is an entrepreneur, a teacher, and a guide whose work centers on embodiment, self-trust, and aliveness. Many people know her, and I first knew her as the co-founder of Emmy's Organics, a nationally beloved natural foods brand she built in her early 20s and grew for over a decade, shaping a company that was both values-led and widely impactful. What I appreciate most about Samantha's story is the continuity in it. The same intuition, devotion, and trust that built a successful company are the qualities that continue to guide her life and work today. In this conversation, we explore what it looks like and feels like to listen to internal truth across many seasons of life, to honor what once fit without disowning it when it no longer does. We talk about building from alignment rather than a sense of urgency, about relationships, self-abandonment, in the subtle ways we shape ourselves to be successful or worthy of love. At the heart of this conversation is a simple but clarifying idea: doing things from love rather than for love, in work and relationships and how we move through change. This is not a conversation about reinvention or arrival. It's about staying in relationship with yourself as life unfolds, letting discomfort inform you, letting trust build slowly, and allowing what feels alive to lead. So if you're entering this year feeling open, curious, or quietly in transition, this conversation offers a steady place to land. You can find Samantha's website, Instagram, Substack, and her podcast, I'm Just Listening, linked in the show notes. Here is my conversation with Samantha Abrams. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
What a gift.
I'm so happy and I'm so comfy.
When I was driving here, I was thinking about sitting down next to you in a concert hall / writer's retreat of, probably 100, 150 people.
Yeah.
And I sat down to you on like day 2, and in getting to know you, the first thing that I was like so turned on by was your entrepreneurial story. Because I was in a career, and my career has heavily been in building brands and building consumer brands. And so when I learned that about you, that you'd built such a meaningful brand, I was like, oh, this is the dream. This is this. And I was in like a very misaligned place in my own career.
Yeah.
And what is really beautiful to reflect on over the 2 years of getting to know you is actually the work that you've moved into now has been what I needed that I didn't know at the time.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so glad you brought that up because I love that we met. Like, I love meeting people in the wild.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like I meet such special people when it's just like, oh, hey, you.
Totally.
And often in spaces where there's some kind of shared interest. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, I was talking to my therapist last night about that author, Jedediah Jenkins, who hosted that retreat.
Yeah.
and reflecting on how specifically I've gone to 3 of his retreats. And that one, which was 2 years ago, I was like, I went to that after living in LA for a good year and a half. And it was hands down the first day where I was like, oh, these are the people I wanted to meet in LA.
Totally.
There's something about that gravity of, to your point, going towards something that you're curious about or that feels like a hint of alignment.
Yes.
And then when I remember sitting in the lodge room in Highland Park, and I was like, the world that I had like created or had moved down here for felt so distant and far away.
Right.
Even though I'd spent every day consumed by it.
Yeah.
And then being in that space, I was like, oh, these are the people.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about that a lot with, sometimes people are like searching for more aligned friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think the best way to do that is to do shit that you love.
Right.
Do things that you genuinely, authentically love and be yourself, because naturally you're going to find your people.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that can take time and maybe even like, shifting out of your comfort zone a little bit to go to things and say hi to people. But like it happens if you just go do the shit that you love, like you will find your people.
That feels connected to like the change that you're embarking on right now.
True. Like in moving and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that resonate?
It does. I mean, I think moving to LA, there was a big piece of that for me because I have some very close friends that live in LA who have really been with me through a lot of change and who are like deeply important to me. And so coming to LA from central New York, right, it felt, I knew I was going to have those people and like that support system. And so it was kind of like, leaving one place to go to another, that felt more in alignment. I feel like that's a really interesting conversation with aligned friendships because on one hand, you could say, oh, I'm not happy with my community or my friendship, so I need to go and leave.
Yeah.
And I do believe, and this is really what I did, like I really wanted to make where I lived work, and I think that creating community and having deep friendships takes effort and it takes consistency. And, for where I was in my life, I also was just in this place of I had lived in this smaller town for, if you count college, 18 years. And the idea of that being it for me just did not feel right. And so it's like, if I knew that I wanted to be there for real, I definitely feel like I could have cultivated more of what I was looking for. But I did know that I needed to go. I needed to experience other things. And so, I think there's a balance sometimes because it's easy to be like, oh, if I move to this place, then all of my friendships are going to change and like I'm going to be able to reach it over here. And I think that in general, like we need as a culture to be investing more even where we are.
Well said. And it reminds me of, I moved from San Francisco to here, not knowing anyone down here aside from the women I was working with in a corporate space. And I was like, it took 5 years to build what I had in SF, and now I'm leaving.
Right.
I remember I had a going away party at the beach at sunset. I was like, wait, I dreamt of this, my life having community like this.
Yeah.
And now I'm leaving it. Yeah. And the first couple years here were super clunky.
Yeah.
And I was with a dear friend over the weekend who it's funny, we had just started to get to know each other before I moved in SF. And now 3 years later, living in different cities, our friendship is deepened. And to your point of it takes effort and intentionality. Yeah. I think I was on the phone with you yesterday and I was like, I threw a dinner party Sunday night. I'd never done that. I'm almost 34. I'm like, I never put the intention into things like that. And I know we'll get into like this notion of having to earn celebration and earn moments like that.
Totally.
And for the first time, I was like, no, I want to have a dinner. And I love that. I love that acknowledgement that it takes intentionality and we get to create it.
Yeah. friendships are relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's people are talking about that a little bit more now, which is just so beautiful, because it's so easy to focus on romantic relationships, right? For all of our effort and attention and all the work that we're doing on ourselves, or, to have better romantic.
To get that.
Right.
Yeah.
But like our friendships are right here. Yeah. And like you can learn to deepen. Like I feel like some of my closest friends have totally re-imprinted what love is for me. And that's going to impact my future relationship, like the way that some of my friends love me. It's like, wow, I love to be loved like this.
I do find, and I'm sure you sit with this too, there is a paradigm shift for women and romantic relationships in the space that they take up in our lives, and that there's seasons for relationships. And I know you were in a long-term serious relationship, and I want to talk a little bit about that journey. And it's interesting because the previous conditioning could maybe make me think like, oh, I'm really void of love. I'm void of something.
Right.
And for a while I was pursuing romantic relationships in hindsight from wanting to have a boyfriend at my sister's wedding.
Right.
And show that I don't have that void.
Yes.
And then because of that being the intention, I felt so much void being in that. But it's interesting to now be in a place where I'm content with not having that in my life. And to your point, the women and the friendships in my life are like everything to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the people that you meet, like if you're dating, when it's coming from this void, it's actually they're going to be very different than who you're going to meet when you're dating from a place of like fullness.
Yeah.
Right. Where someone who comes into your life is just going to add to how fucking amazing it is already. Right. And that's going to be such a blessing and someone to share all of that with. But if you are, it's like kind of that saying of doing things from love, not for love. Right. And if you're, when you're dating for love, you're kind of dog paddling. It's like desperation, right? It's like sort of this unconscious neediness, right? And it could be really quiet. Like you could be like, I'm not needy, but actually, right? Like underneath. And so, I find that to be really fascinating. It's like when we do things from love, right? From fullness, it's completely different.
Yeah. And it's a good place to nod to like the body of work that you're in now and building now. Because I'm chuckling thinking about a lunch we had not too long ago where I love the application. It's funny, like so much of what you share, I think about it in so many dimensions of my life. It's not just career. It's also personal life, relationship with self, all of it.
Yeah.
But I remember sharing with you that I like got coffee with a guy that was like maybe a date. And the way I went into it was like, all right, you got to wear a dress and like slick your hair back in a bun. And we taught you in that conversation, you taught me so much more about what not abandoning myself is. You want to talk a little bit about that work?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the journey of, I think one, recognizing when we are abandoning ourselves, right? We're doing it so unconsciously most of the time. And I think the reason why I'm so fascinated by relationships of all kinds is because that's when you see it, I think, the clearest. It's easy to like, it's not easy to like listen to yourself and stay connected to yourself when you're alone.
But with a witness.
But it's easier.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're with someone, right, and all of a sudden they want to do something that's different than you, right? Or they just, I don't know, have different ideas than you, and you naturally like want to please them. Yeah. Right. We can witness almost how we start to bend and mold ourselves to be more lovable, to be more likable, and abandon ourselves. And there's so many ways that can happen. And so I, just in general, like in my own journey, started to notice like how often I was doing that because I wanted love, right? I was doing things for love. And so I was, saying like, oh yeah, I'm into that. Like when maybe I wasn't so much, or like I didn't actually want to say yes to this invite, right? Or I thought I needed to look a certain way to feel accepted, right? And so there's all these like little tiny like whispers and little ways that we can abandon ourselves. And so in my own journey of just like kind of coming to terms with that, you know, I think now in relationship is like when I can see that tendency more and more. And so I find it to be really interesting and such an important part of like our own like development with our relationship with ourselves.
And I like bringing attention to that. It feels like little things. Like we've all, I won't put it on everyone. Many I'm sure can relate when I say the guy that ended up being my first kiss when I was 16, and it was like a dance floor makeout, which was sad. And I pretended to like Sublime the band because he loved Sublime so much so that a girl in my graduating class painted me like a huge canvas of the Sublime sun, like that band from
You're
the
like, okay.
I was like, cool. Yeah, I love them.
Sublime.
I pretended to like the Beatnik Poets because he like loved the Beatnik Poets. And so it's like these slow little things where you lose who you are.
Yeah.
And it compounds. And the other thing that I really see is where I didn't see that relationship for a long time until I had a relationship blow up most recently, that what I'm doing in my private life is exactly what I'm doing in my public and professional life.
Yeah. It is.
Like, and then that blowing up, I was like, wait, what am I doing here? Wait, what am I doing over here? And who am I in all of that?
I think also like another place where it's very loud is in intimacy.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's starting when we're young, and none of this is anyone's fault, right? This is just like what we are taught culturally, right? To please others, to be a good girl, you know, to be like entertaining and whatever you were raised to be, right? It teaches us to bend. And especially in like early sexual experiences, like think of like how everyone.
Yeah.
I can't.
Poor thing.
I'm like, is there one person that did not endure or bend, right, in early sexual experience, even like current, you know?
Totally.
And so, and it's so loud there, but it is happening in every area of life.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is one of the reasons why, like, as I was sort of transitioning out of Emmys, I did a little bit of business consulting.
Yeah.
And I just got to this place where I'm like, I am not a business consultant because I can see how people's patterns, right, in their lives are impacting the decisions they're making in their businesses. Like it's all connected. And so like, I literally cannot do that. You know, I'm happy, like sometimes I'll get a call from someone with like a natural foods company and I'm like happy to have a conversation of just like, hey, this is my opinion, but I can't because it's everything, like who we are, our relationships with ourselves and our connection with ourselves impacts everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I had an experience in a coaching situation where I used to do a lot of career coaching, like in my MBA days and out of my MBA days. And I'm sure this relates to what you're saying, where I had this moment where you start to see that how I prep for an interview tactically, I can't do that anymore with someone without ignoring the deeper sense of confidence and alignment. Right. And it, you know, I just had that experience this morning where I was like, I used to just teach people the scripts to say.
Yeah.
And now I think we live in a world where, especially with how optimized one can be with I could script something with ChatGPT all day.
Yeah.
And actually in that lose my conviction and my clarity and my voice.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that emulates what you're talking about, where like you can't ignore the deeper work.
You can't.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people fake the emotions and the things that they desperately want to feel. And that could be authenticity, right? It could be joy, you know, it could be a lot of things. And you can't fake it. And
it's felt.
It is felt. You can feel when someone is in their body, right? You can feel when someone is really present. People like to fake presence too. They like to fake consciousness, you know? And, you know, it really takes often going through a journey of discomfort, you know? And yeah, I'm like, is there a way where that can be avoided? I don't think so. Because it's like, oh, wow, look at how I've been. And why is that?
Yeah.
And to really, you know, build that connection with yourself often is like, okay, where have I been pretending?
Yeah. This Ram Dass quote I come back to all the time is like, we're born a nobody and then we think we have to become a somebody. So we become a somebody only to realize that we're better off a nobody. So I feel like that gets to the journey you're talking about.
Yeah.
In perfect segue, because I want to honor and look at that journey with you.
Okay.
And I told you last night, I love 22-year-old entrepreneur Sam.
I love her too.
And the thing that I see in your writing and your sharing is there's such a reverence for those older versions of you. And in something you shared recently, you said that you is serving the you that you are today. So I'd love to ask what you see about her, what you love about her, and how you see that she was serving like this journey to where you are now.
Yeah. I mean, that bitch was driven. I mean, I still am.
Yeah.
I am a very ambitious person.
And maybe worth adding the context, you grew up very creative and you went to school for theater and dance. And so I'm always curious about that seed then of becoming a business builder that you were.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because when you're in it, like you don't think about how your past is impacting, you know, who you are in the moment. And I did grow up very creative. I found home in theater and dance. Yeah. Like that is just where I felt my best, like where I felt the most like myself as a kid. And it was like, those were like the safe spaces for me. And so I really like the idea of being a dancer was like, it just felt so irresponsible, you know? And so I remember I went to college without a major, but the reason why I went to Ithaca College is one, because my mom kind of made me. I got more like financial aid.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And also because there was a theater department there. And so I was like, okay, well, at least I'll be near theater. I could at least go and see shows, you know? And then towards the end of my freshman year, I found their theater arts management program, which was kind of a combination of theater and business. And they had a dance minor. And so that's why I ended up studying. And so the major was more like producing, marketing, kind of like the business end of theater and the arts. And then I got to take a lot of dance classes. So I studied, it was kind of perfect. And it was great. And on the side, you know, I was producing friends' plays, you know, that they were maybe writing or directing. I started a dance company, kind of experimental modern dance company that still exists, which is really cool. And so when I graduated, I did not know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. And also, I'll just say, now I know why, of course, we ran into each other at that dance class in LA. Oh, yeah. And I was like, wait, she's one of the good ones. Like,
wait, oh my God.
She's a professional dancer that's coming in here to like just work stuff out.
No way.
No, you are.
No, in that class, I did not feel like one of the good ones.
But we didn't see each other for a while, and then we saw each other in that class.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
It was cool.
Yeah. And I met your ex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
And you met mine.
Of course I did.
At the airport.
So your dancing's beautiful.
Thank you.
But anyway, post-grad,
I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I like, you know, there's all those shoulds, you know, and it was like, oh, this was my major, so I should be doing this. Yeah. Which like, no.
Debunk.
Yeah, debunk big time. Take the pressure off everybody. Yeah. And so one of my best friends that I knew from college, she was from Ithaca and she convinced me to stay for the summer. She was like, let's get odd jobs and let's just have fun. And I had my lease and my place, I think, through most of the summer. So I was like, okay. And so we like painted her dad's garage and I got a job at like this cidery.
Great.
and for the first time experienced Ithaca as a like place to live.
Yeah. In an adult kind of.
Yeah. And totally fell in love with the community. And then, you know, in July of that summer, my friend introduced me to Ian at a music festival, and the rest is history. And then 4 months later, we started a natural foods company together.
How did it start?
Emmy's?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, so I remember noticing
A single cookie.
one cookie changed the trajectory of my life.
But I kind of do love the whimsy of it, because to debunk the what I should do,
Yeah.
it's always there. And the fact that you, let's just say it, you built like a nationally beloved, category changing smart snack brand, like
Great description.
That was
Thank
sold
you.
in thousands and thousands of stores.
Yes.
That if you were, my assumption is, if you were sitting in that college given question of what I should do with my degree,
Yeah.
that would not have been on the bingo card.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny though, because I think about that moment. So something that brought Ian and I together was this love of like health and wellness, I guess we could say. And, you know, he sort of entered that world more out of necessity, because he continues to deal with challenges with chronic illness and things. And so food has been a really big way for him to support himself.
Yeah.
And so, and for me, I was just always kind of a nerd about it. Like, I don't know what it is, but from a young age, I was always fascinated with like health food stores and like the weird like wheatgrass trays. And that was not in my house. You know, like my mom is a wonderful cook, but like not very traditional in a lot of ways. And so even through college, I got really into like raw foods and like all this weird shit. And so that was something that brought me and Ian together, and he'd had a lot of experience kind of in that world. And so I remember when he taught me how to make this coconut cookie recipe that he had made out of a need for himself. And he taught me how to make it one night, and it was like, yay, this is so delicious, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember he called me like the next morning and was like, hey, do you want to go into business together and like make this product?
It was a single cookie.
It was a single cookie in 2 flavors at the time.
Coconut.
It was like a vanilla and chocolate, because everything was based in
Is
coconut.
it kind of macaroon-y?
Yes. And
I've had it. Yeah.
we called them macaroons in the beginning.
Yes.
Excuse
I would
me.
buy it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, delicious.
I was eating your cookie years before I met you.
I have a lot of friends that say that. It's really cool. Like, we've been connected.
Well, not to get the low-hanging fruit metaphor, but you were like, it was like nourishing the friendships that you're now nourishing.
Aw.
It is.
That's adorable. It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember when he asked me that over the phone, and that was it was a full body yes. And that was before I really knew what that was, you know? And I remember like, even that summer, like looking at job applications online, like, again, like, what do I want to do? And all these things. And like, nothing really felt right. Again, I wouldn't have had the language or the awareness to even say that at the time. But when he said that, you know, it was just like a yes. And I actually had just loved living in Ithaca, in this kind of smaller community. You know, it was like, it just felt like home.
Yeah.
And so, and I really wanted to stay, but the idea of staying for a guy was not okay with me.
But for a cookie.
But for a cookie, for a company plus a guy, yes. And then that really, you know, we like completely devoted our lives to building this company, and we had no fucking idea what we were doing.
Yeah.
But we just showed up. And so to go back to my 22-year-old self, it's like, she really showed up for this thing, you know, and it's like, I didn't know what it was going to be, but there was just such a yes about it, you know, and Ian is also incredibly driven. And so like being around other driven people, like just makes me more driven.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it was such a gift to go on this journey with someone else.
Yep.
because entrepreneurship is very lonely. You know, when you believe in something that not everybody else understands, no one really got what we were doing necessarily. And I don't know, and we did, but we couldn't see where it was going. But like, so to do that with someone else was really a gift.
It's funny because it's the corporate side of me that wants to ask a question about like
ROI.
Sure. About what success meant then versus now. And I'm sure there's an answer there, but what stands out to me and what's present with me is you were on a very aligned path.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, it wasn't chasing some idea of ROI.
No.
And I'm like, I love learning that about this story because you built a very successful business and had a very successful exit and it was from alignment.
Totally. And there's so many lessons from building that company that I'm bringing into my life today. And one of them, it's again, this is the theme, doing things from love, not for love. Like when we started that company, you know, we were super young. I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think I even had a car when we started the company. Like I was renting a room in someone's house. Like my expenses were extremely low, didn't have a mortgage, did not have a car payment. You know, like I think my mom was still paying for my cell phone. I don't even know. And I still had like the coverage for healthcare, you know, because I was still young.
Yeah.
And so like the risk, like it was very low risk. You know, I didn't need to start this company to pay my bills. And so because of that, I feel like we were really able to like follow the energy of the company. And I remember we had an accountant who became kind of like an advisor. He was like a friend of Ian's mom. And he was always like, let the business draw you forward, right? A lot of people are trying to invest in big office spaces or like advertising and all of these things. But he literally was like, wait until you have cookies like covering all the windows until you get a new space. And honestly, we really maintained that kind of mentality. And I think because neither of one of us had started a business like this before, we also like didn't understand how that people like got that were like in debt and like it got investment money to grow.
Yeah.
And so we really valued profitability. We just thought that's how you build a business. And so it's funny because several years down when we started making more industry friends, because in the beginning, we didn't even know there was an industry, by the way.
Right.
I had no idea. But when we started,
you were doing something kind of like localized and
we knew of other natural foods companies, you know, and totally idolized, and they were all like the super hippy dippy brands, by the way.
Like in the health stores.
Yeah, in the health stores, and you know, like Ian's family, some of them were on the West Coast, and there was like a way cooler scene of natural food things on the West Coast. But so we knew that like there were companies, but we hadn't seen anyone like become, I don't know, super successful yet. And so it was only, I don't know, through working with distributors, they're like, oh, you should get a table at this trade show. And I remember going to our first trade show and it was like, oh my God, like there are people doing what we're doing.
Right.
And then the more we attended those types of things, we made friends, you know, with other founders. And I remember at a point, this was like several years in, when some of our friends got wind of the fact that we didn't have any investors. Yeah. We became like, they were like, wait, what? Yeah. Wait, and you guys are profitable? Yeah. Like it was this weird unicorn thing. Yeah. And so it was truly because like we were just following like the intuitive, the pulse, right, of this business.
There's also a simplicity to it because it's funny. And now I feel like, not to speak too much to the macro, but like there was such a wave of like VC infused brands. Yeah. And then years later, they don't sustain because they weren't profitable.
Right.
And go ahead.
All of a sudden, right, you're making decisions for the investors, like to be able to satisfy investors, not to make decisions for the company itself.
Right.
You know? And so like, I even think about this now, and I talk to other friends who are starting entrepreneurial type things. And it's like, as soon as you're like, this has to be a certain way, this has to grow at a certain pace, this has to look a certain way, you're not making decisions like for yourself or the business anymore.
Yeah.
It becomes something outside of you. And so that's something I'm trying to remember.
Same.
Because I definitely have caught myself, right, in the like, you know, seeds of launching like a coaching business or whatever. I've caught myself going a little too fast, you know, and thinking about the future instead of like trusting that I'm going to be able to make the right choices and that things are going to unfold exactly how they're supposed to, you know? And I have a lot of compassion for people who are in entrepreneurial endeavors and are needing to pay their bills.
Totally.
You know, like that's why, like something that I love from the To Be Magnetic framework is the idea of the fuck you fund.
Oh, what does that mean?
Which it's basically like, if you want to quit your job and go launch something new, you need to have like a year's worth of expenses at minimum, so that when you start to launch something for yourself, you're not putting that pressure on it, you know? And so that's my number one advice for entrepreneurs. It's like, how can you take as little pressure off? How can you have as little pressure on the business itself to perform a certain way as possible? Because you're going to start making decisions for something else that's not in alignment.
And I'm one of the grateful recipients of that guidance. And I'm in it. Like I'm 6 or 7 months in to leaving my job and going out on my own. And there are moments of panic. And what I continue to come back to is, this is, I can feel it unfolding and I can feel the momentum. And I am not here to rush that, because rushing that will sabotage the clarity that I feel in how it's unfolding. And then, if I need to go, I remember our walks around the reservoir, I'm like, there is maybe some supplemental support that needs to happen. And that can happen over here, but I'm not going to demand it from this thing. Yeah,
totally. I mean, rushing, it comes from a lack of trust in every area of life, right? Because you don't trust that like the next move is going to happen, you know? And so I'm saying this like, and I catch myself all the time, you know, like I am a human. There's no way to perfect this. You know, it's easy to talk about, like I love talking about these types of concepts, but I think also it should be known that life is fucking around and finding out, and it's messing up, you know, and coming back, always coming back. Like, oh yeah, I forgot that I can trust myself. So here I am. And I just realized that I'm coming back. Always, always, always.
And what I know about your journey is truth and trust have been present. And in this miraculous build that you and Ian went on, and then all of a sudden you're surprising yourselves and you're making friends in the industry and it's growing, you reached then a moment where maybe, and you tell me, but from what you've shared, it sounds like there was great success in Emmys, and then there was this internal shift happening at the same time. And I know one piece you shared, and then I'd love to hear you speak to it, is there was a moment where you said out loud to a friend, "Is this my truth?"
Well, I actually said that to myself.
For good.
And that was more around my relationship with Ian. But I had very similar feelings when it came to the company. Because everything was great. You know, we were growing and like it was all great. And I was just kind of beginning my own journey of getting to know myself on a deeper level, and also like just shedding a lot of sadness and like emotions that I was holding in my body that I had not let myself feel. This was happening mostly during the pandemic. And I got to this place of, when it came to the business, where it was like, God, I've been working so hard. Like
well over a decade.
And it's like, I love the company and I love our people and I love our product, but it was just like, I don't think this is what I want to do forever. I don't want to do it like this.
Mm.
And I didn't know what I wanted. And I wasn't in a place where I was ready to leave or anything like that. But I just started getting these whispers of like, I don't think this is forever for me, you know? And it's amazing what happens when you start to listen to those whispers because, you know, what unfolded, you know, we had been looking at potentially growing a little bit faster. So this was like 11, 12 years in. No, maybe 10 or 11 at this point. Timeline.
Significant.
Yeah.
I mean, a decade of growing.
Yeah. And really working like I'm so proud of the work that I put into this company, you know, like it's, and it just got to a place where it was like, wow, I can't do this anymore in this way.
Yeah.
You know? And so when I started to listen to that truth, like things really unfolded. And so we started looking at, not because of my whispers, by the way, like I was just getting clear on this kind of on my own, but what was happening on the outside is that we were looking at potential investors for the first time. And because Ian and I both knew that, you know, that this wasn't what we wanted forever and ever. And so, and we had hired a CEO. And so it was like, okay, let's like start looking at our options. And we were looking at maybe getting a minority investment.
Yeah. And at this point, you're like in Whole Foods and you're
Yeah. We're a nationwide brand. And very established, I guess, for that industry.
Very established.
And I mean, probably like 12,000 retail locations, maybe at that point. Something like that.
That's significant.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And so, you know, it's interesting. So this was also during the pandemic, and I got this intuitive hit to reach out to an industry friend to just see what kind of advice he had about raising money. And it was when I was beginning to practice listening to those intuitive hits a little bit more. And so I reached out to him and he was like, oh, you should do this investor pitch that's virtual because of the pandemic. And so I looked into that, and it was literally like the last day that we could sign up to do it. And I was like, everyone, we got to do this. And so we did it, and we did the pitch virtually. And it was through that we ended up connecting with who would be our future acquirers. At first, the conversation was about a minority investment, and then it turned into a full acquisition. But, you know, in that process, I was like, not entirely sure how my path was going to look, you know, and just like, I thought that being acquired would mean that maybe I would do less. And it certainly was not the case right off the bat. But as time went on, I was just like, I felt myself moving in another direction. And it was very uncomfortable for a long time because like this company is something that I like built with my blood, sweat, and tears, like quite literally, and have so much love for what we built and for our people. Like I'm literally tearing because it's so real. And so the idea of leaving, it was like, does this mean that you like don't like this or, you know, you're not grateful? You know, I think actually there's like a gratitude cap that can happen. Like I should be grateful, so I should stay. You know, I think that can catch people sometimes, even though gratitude is so beautiful, you know, but it's like when it's like I should be. And so, it's been a really like beautiful journey, and I'm so grateful to our acquirers because I've had a very gentle transition out where I, you know, was full-time with the company for 2.5 years. And then I shifted into a consulting role. And then it was only like halfway through this year that now I'm like fully out. And I'm really grateful that it wasn't this like stark thing.
A lesson that I'm learning through this conversation and a few conversations leading up to this one is it's interesting when you articulate it so beautifully, but I find that I'll speak from leaving one version of my career, one season of my career, into what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
When the change is maybe abrupt or whatever it is, it can feel maybe cathartic or soothing to be like, that wasn't aligned. This is aligned.
Right.
And actually, that was aligned until it wasn't.
Yes.
And you've really taught me that. And I'm really grateful to it because that is actually the truth.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, that wasn't right. This is, because this might not be aligned in a year, you know? And I actually think the path is in the courage to listen to that and do something about it and stop, for me, blaming that this is wrong and I'm stuck.
Yeah. Just because you move on from something, whether it's a relationship, a career, a place, doesn't mean that you don't love it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that there's a lot in that for people, and certainly for me. And, you know, it's like even my relationship, right? Like just because that relationship was like, we grew in different directions, right? And it doesn't mean that I don't love and appreciate our time together. And I think that when we get in our heads like, oh, this means I don't love it, then it holds us back from moving on.
Yeah. It's like there's an avoidance of maybe the grief that's also involved.
Yeah.
Of shedding what was that gave me so much.
Yes.
And certainly a fear of not knowing what's going to happen. And you are an example of trusting that.
Yeah.
Because what you built was so beautiful.
Yeah.
In that I should stay.
Yeah. My whole life was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like Ian and I, we had this amazing house with a wood stove and a dog and a car and a beautiful community, and this company that we built that had a beautiful culture with beautiful people, and in this place, you know, that I still love so much. That's truly magic. And so to leave all of that, right, it was a lot for me to like work through, and it took a lot of courage for me to leave this entire life, and not everything went at the same time, but it is like what you said. It's very courageous to leave a life that is beautiful, but because you know it's not in alignment anymore, and maybe you want something different because you're different.
From that, what do you feel has been your compass and become your compass for the path forward, in the path to where you are now and where you're going?
I think letting myself feel and having practices that allow me to just feel the discomfort, right? Those moments when you're not in trust, you know, like that, my practice has really like held me down. And that has been like with teachers, and that has also been just with myself. And I'm just so grateful because here's the thing. I think when we go through big change, it's really easy to want to like brace and like get through it and get to the other side of it as fast as possible. But when we can actually feel it and feel the grief and feel the sadness and feel the fear, it literally cracks you open and it transforms you. Yeah. And so that has become my practice, right, for the last, I don't even know now, 6 years. And I learned that through from lots of other people and different modalities and things. Yeah. But it's like, now that's just like how I live my life. And it's like, I let the hard things crack me open instead of bracing and getting through them.
I saw something the other day. Someone was like, when we sit with the discomfort or the feelings and all of it, we actually find that it's a lot closer to love. And I get that because it is, whether I'm, you know, I cried on my porch with my little sister who was in town just to relieve. I think I needed to realize this is hard and lonely. Yeah. And I'm in it. Yeah. And in this season I'm in, I can now see in hindsight how habitual it became to avoid what I was feeling. Yeah. I would drive to my office. I would drive home. I would put on Netflix. I would eat takeout. Yeah. I would scroll for an hour and rinse, repeat. Yeah. And so I was and I felt the lack of aliveness in hindsight. And I also am like, I needed that season to feel this difference.
Yeah.
But in what you said, to just connect it to like sitting in the discomfort with whatever support you need to do that.
Yeah.
Connecting back to love and to your mantra and compass of like creating from it versus for it.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful shift in my consciousness around how to move life forward.
Yes. And let life move through us.
Yeah.
You know, and that is aliveness. Like sadness is aliveness. Discomfort is aliveness, right? When we're numb all of the time, we are not alive. You know, we're not living.
Yeah.
And also what you shared about your sister, it's like letting yourself be seen in that.
Yeah.
And that's been a big part of my path as well, is just letting my friends and the people close to me see what I'm going through. Totally. And I'm so grateful to have people in my life who I can do that with, to be like, this is really fucking hard. And it's been hard for a long fucking time. And I don't know when it's going to end. And like, I know I'm going to be okay, but like, here I am. And like, life is messy. And life is messy when we're following something like deep inside of us.
What do you feel the thing is that you're following right now?
I'm following aliveness. I'm following what feels alive and what feels good. And I think, you know, I went through a lot of hard stuff for many years in just kind of like working through a lot of pain from my past and then going through a ton of change, right? Like in every single area of my life. And like now I'm just like what feels good? And letting myself move towards that. Because for a long time I was moving towards what felt really uncomfortable. And I needed to do that. And I'll continue to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like now I'm almost like letting myself like legit follow my joy. And that feels really, really good.
I love that the body of work that it feels like you're creating in real time is not perhaps yet to be labeled and defined precisely.
Yeah, it's so true.
And it's for me like kind of laughing in the unlearning of, I got to have that LinkedIn header say, say something cool.
Totally.
But I will reflect to you that you are an example of someone that has come into my life that I don't need to know how you define it. I just know that being around you and receiving what you share is having a very positive impact on me.
Thank you.
It's this felt sense. And to extrapolate that out, you know, we've talked a lot about what we've experienced in our lives, and that feels like a new way forward beyond the self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. I've changed my LinkedIn profile and my Instagram bio so many times because I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, following something that's true, you know, and that's the truth is podcast, I think, is celebrating that.
A good example of that is that I had 5 pages of notes at the beginning of this interview. And you grounded us before it, and I haven't picked them up since.
Isn't that beautiful?
I highlighted something in your Substack.
Oh yeah, you said you were going through
the one I brought was more living, less forcing. And then I highlighted the sentence, when it comes to moving towards the things we want in life, the how and when are not really up to us. Isn't that perfect?
The lesson of my motherfucking lifetime.
You are about to move to Austin, Texas.
I am.
How is that all feeling?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It feels so right. And again, it's like not because I don't love it here. I have an amazing life here. I have some really special friends. I love Erwan. I love dance classes.
Sponsor the pod.
You know, right? I have so many like beautiful, like I love my acupuncturist, you know, like I've built a beautiful life here, and I'm just following my aliveness. And, you know, last time I was there, I've gone to Austin many times. It's also on my Venus line for anyone who's into astrocartography. I feel very alive there. And I'm in a space where I'm wanting to be around more people and to hang out. I've needed a lot of solitude over the last 3 years, a ton. And LA is a great place for that. And as I said, like I do have wonderful people here and have gone to some really cool events and things. But last time I was there, I was with a friend and we ended up going to this concert and I saw all these people and literally this house down the street from a friend just like opened up. And I had this moment of like, can you just let things be easy? You know, like I think that even in our like healing journeys and in life, like it's so, we think that we need things to be hard to earn it, you know? And I think that's something I'm kind of unlearning for myself.
Totally.
Because it's like, here is a life.
Wait, if I'm not suffering, I won't get paid.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I need to endure.
Yeah.
I need to suffer, right, in order to be successful. And that does not mean experiencing maybe the fear and the discomfort, you know, of what's happening. But like, yeah, that is something I'm really just looking at in myself. And so like this life has kind of been presented to me and I have no idea how long. Like I have a 6-month lease and a really cool house and I'm just so excited and it feels easy. Yeah. And there's totally resistance in me because like everybody's moving to Austin, especially from LA. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to be like everybody else. But it's like, this is what's alive. And I'm ready for a change. I feel like I'm really entering a new chapter and very excited about putting more of my work out into the world and wanting to just, hang out with someone 4 doors down and see what happens.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah. And I'll be back in LA. I love it here.
It was when you told me that, it was like, there wasn't a hint of sadness because I was like, this is correct. And I cherish our connection and I will come to Austin.
Totally. Yeah. And I'll come here.
Yeah.
You know, like, one of my best friends here, she's like, I'm just going to put my email on like one of those like flight things where there's cheap flights. And like, I'm just going to come visit. We're going to have weekends and like, we're just going to do it. There's
a flow and there is a connection and with not gripping to one idea of what it looks like. And allowing that flow and that change.
Yeah.
And that because of that trust, I know that our relationship will evolve as it is meant to.
Totally.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, we don't have time to go into this, but throughout my time in LA, I've had so many experiences where I was gripping to finding a home here.
Yeah.
And I went so far out of my way and like a long-term home. I've been blessed to live in a friend's space that's furnished and it's been flexible and it's beautiful. Anyway, yeah,
in the home that came through is in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I know. Never in my life would I think that I would live in the state of Texas, but here we are.
The Texas will be lucky to have you.
Yeah.
All right, a few fun ones to wrap us up.
Okay.
How's that sound? Favorite Emmy's creation?
Oh, God. Okay. I mean, we have this product line called Crunchums. It's a newer one. I love our OG coconut cookies so much. The dark cacao will always be my favorite of our products, period.
Yeah.
But the Crunchums, they're like these little kind of crispy, crunchy coconut clusters. Yeah. And they're just so fun to munch on. The texture is phenomenal.
I'm going on a road trip on Thursday, so I'm going to get some.
Yeah, please get some.
That's good.
They're at Whole Foods.
They're at Whole Foods. Whole Foods, sponsor me. Just kidding.
Yeah.
What would your 8-year-old self say to you today?
Oh my God. I think she'd be like, what the fuck? Or like, wow. I think she'd be surprised because I think that the things that I've leaned into were like these like little things that I was like kind of fascinated by, but like couldn't fully own when I was young. You know, especially around like spirituality and personal growth and even natural foods, you know? So I think I think it wouldn't be what the fuck. It would be like, what the fuck? That's awesome. Yeah.
Perfect. What would your 80-year-old self say?
I'm so proud of you.
What is a ritual or practice that keeps you?
Dancing.
Oh yeah.
And feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling as ritual, feeling as practice.
Feeling as ritual. That's beautiful. And it's a practice.
Yeah, my embodiment practice, which is part of what I want to share with the world. But that's been such an important part of my journey.
Last one, just fill out. I used to think blank, and now I know blank. Mad Libs.
I used to think I had to endure and struggle in order to succeed. Now I know that I need to follow what's true.
Thank you for being on The Truth Is.
I mean, great topic, segue, all the things.
I should have just
We're done. Mic drop.
This was such a gift. You just like this experience of interviewing you brought me into trusting myself more. And it is by virtue of who you are and how you show up.
Thank you so much. I've just so enjoy our conversations. I love how you can you really listen and take in what I say and like digest it for your own. And I just always love your reflections. And I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
On your path with this and other things that you're working on.
Thank you.
It's a gift to know you.
Ditto. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. I hope you leave this episode with something that stays with you, a question worth holding or an insight worth following. If this conversation resonated, subscribing or sharing the episode helps bring more people into the conversation. And connect with The Truth Is at The Truth Is Podcast on Instagram. Special thanks to the people who make this show possible. Editing by Dan Kroll. Video production and editing by Anton LaPlume. Music by Will Savino. Visual identity by Sarah Gaynor and Jonathan Bush. And guidance from my friend and advisor, Natalie Tulloch. I'm Catherine Flashner. Thank you for listening to The Truth Is.